Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. Bom dia and Boker Tov, Oi, Ola, to all the brothers and sisters. Just wanted to say greetings to you all, and I wanted to get into this short little video so you can get a little understanding about certain terms that we often use. My name is Brother Yahar. Also, some of you may know me as Keith, okay? And we're going to get into a little bit of understanding if possible. And what we're going to cover is what you see on the board here. I'm going to talk about a lot of this, but the first thing we're going to talk about law, okay? Because a lot of individuals in their spiritual walks, and there are many spiritual walks, as you all understand. When you have the spiritual walks, these are common words that are spoken, right? And people base a lot of their beliefs and their spirituality based upon something you see here, right? Now, I'm here to tell you, and I want to introduce to you that this right here is very, very important, because I have come to understand that without this, there is none of this. There's no righteousness, no belief, no faith, holiness, salvation, wisdom, commandments. Well, commandments are pretty much in symphony with law. Okay, these are the orders. These are the do's and do not do, right? And we got perfect and spiritual. So all of these words, you know, a lot of people use them in their spiritual walk, but I don't think a lot of people have good understanding of what the words mean. So that's what I want to try to do, is try to offer some understanding so you will know what it means about the law. All right. Now, first and foremost, I must say that whenever you are transferring from one language to the other, things are lost and some things are gained that was not intended to be gained. Okay, so when they translated Hebrew into English, Latin, and so forth and so on, things were lost. And also, some words don't carry the same effect and the same weight as it did in the original language. So what we want to do is to look at the original language and get the understanding, so that way when we are reading from an English text, we will understand the roots of the actual word. Again, we're just going to focus on law. So let me roll into it real quick. Here we have what is known as, let's see here, we have the Greek and we have the Hebrew. In this column we have the Hebrew, and this part here we have just the Greek. This portion right here is just the Greek. Let's start with the Hebrew. The Hebrew word for law is Torah. Now, I know there are certain brothers out there who think and have the understanding that Torah, or the law, means the first 5 books of the Bible, meaning Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. They feel that that is what Torah, that is what the law is, but that is not correct. What is correct is you can find Torah and the law in the first 5 books of the Bible, and that is very true. So understand it, when you're using this, it does not mean the first 5 books of the Bible. That's why some brothers have a discussion and a debate over when was the law actually given. Some would say, well, if Moses wrote the law, in other words, they are equating Moses' writing with Torah. If he wrote the law, then why did Noah know about what was clean and unclean? How did, who is that? Abraham. How did Abraham keep the law and the will and the directions and the instructions in order to be considered by God. Those were two individuals that were before Moses existed. So therefore, that when you understand what this word means, which I'm going to get into right now, you will see that this is a different meaning than the first 5 books of the Bible, even though you will find this in the first 5 books as well as other writings throughout the Bible. You will find Torah. Now, when you look in the Greek, that word is nomos. That is the actual Greek word for law. And what it means law in a prescriptive usage. Check it out. That's what it means. Now, think about prescriptive usage. If you are like me, over 40 years old, chances are you have had your fair share of prescription medication. And what does a prescription medication do? It gives you directions and it gives you instructions on the usage of that medication. So that's the prescriptive usage. When you look at Torah in Hebrew, Torah simply means directions and instructions. So these two are in agreement. Whether you go from the Hebrew language to the Greek language, you still have the same meaning behind it, right? So again, Torah means law, directions, and instructions. The same as the Greek, prescriptive usage, law. The root word is Nemo, like the little fish on Disney. Nemo. Now, Nemo was first, the root of that word is when they set off a parcel of land. They had one particular piece of land that was used to nourish and to feed the animals. That was called the Nemo. Okay, nourishment, and it also has a root in law. So you get the word Nemos from that. Also, the root word for Torah is Yara. 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 Okay, and we'll go right down here and we'll see this root word in the actual script of the Paleo Hebrew. And this script here, it means Yara, which means to shoot, throw, cast. Let's talk about that first of all, because that's the whole meaning of directions or instructions. It is to shoot, throw, or cast, like you shoot a ball, shoot a gun, shoot an arrow, throw a ball, okay, or throw a rock, cast a fishing line, or throw. All of that is, notice that one thing it has in common, all of it has a target. You are actually wanting to accomplish something. You want to hit the target, hit the goal. So if your goal, the instructions, as it also says for this root word Yara, is to point out, to teach, also to direct and to instruct. So all of this is a root word, and from this root word you get Torah. From Yara you get Torah. That's why Torah is the directions and the instructions. Now there's another word you may be familiar with, which this is also Torah right here. And it's also up there in the block form as well as the Paleo. So moving back down here, you have another word that is from the same root, which is called more. More. This is what a teacher is. All right? More. That is a teacher. So a person, and what does the teacher do? Their whole goal is to point out certain things, to teach you, to direct the students and instruct the students for a particular goal that they are trying, a goal or a target they're trying to get them to, whether it's getting to graduation, getting them prepared for college, getting them to understand the things of the world, blah, 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 blah. But that's what teachers do in the normal school system. But we also have teachers that are responsible, the mores in scripture, for making sure people are understanding what the scriptures are talking about by directing them and instructing them. So a more and is from the root word yara, and Torah is from that same root. So that is what Torah is. And that's what I wanted to share with you all. So again, law, truth, righteousness, your beliefs, being holy or unholy. A lot of people, one thing about all these words, most people don't really understand what this really means when they look at the scriptural text. They understand what it means maybe in English, but they don't have an understanding of the root from when it's taken from, when it's used in a scriptural or a biblical reference. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you all. I just want to give you a quick example of what I'm talking about on here, because a lot of people say the law is done away with. And the reason why that doesn't make sense, and this comes out in that video that I'm putting out on YouTube called For Christ is the End of the Law. We're going to go into a lot of scriptures, which I'm not doing in this segment. I'm just going over the concepts of language and to get the meaning of it. So what we'll find when we're looking at law is that if you were to say the law is done away with, it doesn't make sense when you understand the meaning. Because how could directions and instructions be done away with? That makes no sense. Okay, here's an example. If you are a parent and you have children, if you don't have children, imagine when you were a child. Your parents gave you, hopefully, good instructions and good directions, right? That could be considered, they laid the law down to you. They gave you their law. And what they were comfortable with is that what they were telling you was for your benefit, for your growth, because they were felt responsible for you, and you may feel the same thing for your children until they reach adulthood. So that is the target that you're shooting for, is to make sure you have your children at a position where they will be successful or reach adulthood with the best possible training that you can give them. And so you give them your directions and instructions, your law, and you know it's the truth because you've experienced things in life. Now, some people have some messed up laws or messed up instructions they give their kids, but for the most part, you feel it is true, and you feel that if they practice and if they observe your instructions and directions, they will have a benefit. They will have a righteous life that will not cause them to get in trouble, end up in jail, or end up in a cemetery. You also know that their law, that if they believe in it, if they see the importance of that law, they will follow it because they believe firmly in it. They will have faith in it that is unmovable, that causes that belief. They will be holy. How will they be holy? They will be set apart from the other students that's buck wild and do what they want to do, and their parents teach them differently. They will be set apart doing the things that are right and not going along with the crowd. They're standing out and standing upon your instructions and your directions because they believe that it is right for them and they have faith in it. With that is going to come a certain level of wisdom. Now they're going to understand things even as a child and moving through that their other peers don't really understand because they have been paying close attention to your directions and your instructions. All right. That way, when they graduate or when they leave from being a child to an adult and they are walking a successful life, you sit back and say, I did well. My kids were perfect. Not that they didn't do any wrong, but they accomplished the objective. That's what perfect means. It's not saying that you are without sin. It is saying that you are shooting for and going towards the objective by following directions and instructions. And when they do that, just like a basketball star, when the Lakers went out to win the championship, that was their goal. Their target was outscoring the other team by putting the ball in the basket, in the hoops. And when they did that, now they have obtained what they had directed and what they were instructed to do. And that's why they will be considered the perfect champions of 2020, even though I don't really like them. But anyway, that's another word, another note. Spiritual, that's another thing. So let's just wrap it up. And that's what I want to share with you all. Hopefully you got something from it, because I'm right at the 15-minute mark and I want to stop right about now. If you all have any questions or comments, please hit me up. And this is not rocket science, but when you change that word to its proper meaning, when you say law, and just recognize whenever you read it that instructions and directions, you will find out that it makes perfect sense, and all of this falls in harmony. So with that, I'm going to say shalom to you. May blessings and peace be upon you all. Until next time, much love to you. Shalom.